Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Renee. I'm an artist, a health and life coach, and this channel is all about women's wellness and personal development. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely leave me a like and keep watching. And I fear this is going to be on the longer side, so stick with me, get comfortable, grab a drink. I'm going to talk about something that I have been experiencing on a personal level these past few months. And the concept is something that I've written about on my blog. Definitely go and check it out on there as well. I write about these topics in depth on my blog if you're understanding what I mean when I say I stopped performing my life and I actually started living it. Here's what happened. This has been the theme of my life these days is cutting out the performative aspects of so many things. I don't know if it's something that just comes with maturity and growing into adulthood, womanhood, but I have just had so much of a shift in the way that I view not only like social media and, what it is that I'm willing to share, and just coming to this realization of the idea that we just post so much, like we post our lives, we forego our privacy to do what exactly? And performativeness can display itself in social media. Again, that's not the case for everyone. Some of us do this for our work, I do, but everyone who partakes in social media has probably experienced the performative aspect, and that has been a part of what I've slowly started to cut out of my life. But this performative aspect of my life has shown up in so many other dynamics, and I'm going to talk about today how I'm gradually starting to cut those things away. So I stopped performing my life and started living it. I have my notes right here, so if you see me looking down, that's why. But I personally think for a long time I wasn't even aware. It really took a major event in my life to get me to realize that I was performing my life instead of actually living it. Performing being attractive, performing being social, performing being fun, performing being okay. And eventually I got exhausted. Like when I think of being performative, I think of acting. Like I feel like that has been something I have done so much of my life because I feel like maybe it's part of what was expected of me or what I thought things should look like. And the thing is that when you're chasing an image, you're not really living your life. But let me explain how that actually happens, because it's a lot more common than you might think. And it's just not the same for me anymore. Even if I wanted to go back to that way of being, that way I used to act, I can't. Like something has really shifted. I don't know if you guys have experienced the same thing, but how this has shown up in my life of, dwindling away at that performative aspect is deleting Instagram. I deleted my personal account. I have one for life coaching and it's just for business. Like it has a purpose. It is to expand my work. It has nothing to do with my personal life. And that sounds like a superficial thing, but deleting Instagram did make a big impact in my life and it opened my eyes to how much I was curating my life for other people. And it's designed that way. So I know a lot of people can probably relate to that, but the change in my life after just getting rid of that is serious and needs to be studied. Okay, how this also showed up is generally becoming more private. Like I've always kind of fluctuated between being a private and public person, but even though my personality I would say is more introverted and private, I had a really well developed public side of my personality just because of the work that I've been involved with, and my relationships, my friendships kind of put me into that space where I had a social, um, I don't know what's the word, but I had to be social. Like just it was just a part of my life. So I became more private, like just overall. I don't have the same interest in nightlife. And the interesting thing is that, again, when it comes to performance, this is something I know about myself, that I don't enjoy nightlife, but I found myself participating in it so many times, so often, on and off, but different phases, cycling in and out of that lifestyle because of the friendships that I had, the relationships that I was in, and just kind of living their life alongside them instead of living my own. And that's something that has only been revealed to me once I started to intentionally become less performative. No longer wanting to be constantly perceived. Like, I know a lot of women probably can relate to that, but for me, how that's shown up is I don't have to be everywhere all the time. I don't have to be in everyone's face all the time. Like, I'm okay with just being low profile, doing my own thing, more so than before. Like, I think I would get um, excited and happy to share other people's life with them instead of honoring this part of myself, if that makes sense, and realizing ultimately that attention wasn't emotionally fulfilling. So something in me changed, and this is how I realized my life was organized around perception. It was one of those silent things that was really shaping my life, and I want to shed some light on it today. So many things in society kind of tip us to this point where we are organizing our life around the way that we are viewed, the way that we are seen, the way that we are experienced. Obviously, our appearance is the best example. That's why I talk so much about it on my channel, but other ways that this can show up, this hyper fixation on how other people are perceiving us, is through social media culture, curating your life, curating basically an external version of your personality online. Like, that's all about how people are viewing you. And I feel there's a difference when you're doing it for a purpose, like for work or for a business. It can definitely still have effects on your psychology, it does. But there's a difference between doing it for a purpose to grow something and doing it on a personal level and just because if you're going to take on that risk of having it shape your psychology, then at least have there be a reason behind it, because it's going to have an effect one way or another. Other ways that your life can be organized around perception: participating in nightlife. I don't know if you guys know this or have observed this, but nightlife can get very competitive and strange. There's like a lot of social dynamics that take place in nightlife that I wasn't aware of until I experienced it for myself. Beauty, status, culture, we see it now with like the looks maxing thing and skinny talk, and this competitiveness between women about who can be the most thin. It's unsaid. I mean, some people are very vocal about it, but it is a very real phenomena that makes us organize our own life, our own eyes toward ourselves around the way that we are viewed. A lot of women fall into being overly obsessed with their body image and with their appearance through these um, personified versions of what it means to be beautiful, these personalities that, or figures that are telling you what you should look like, what you should not look like, that belongs to you and we should reclaim that. I have tons of videos about that on my channel. Other ways you can organize your life around perception: male validation. I mean, come on, come on. I know I'm speaking to somebody, okay? Like, if that one guy makes one comment about how you look, guess what? The next day you're going to completely alter that, completely change it so that you can be feeling like you're attractive to him, right? That's part of what happens naturally. But when we start prioritizing male validation in general, and not just like one person, even though that has its consequences as well, you're in serious, serious trouble, because there's just no way that you're ever going to be absolutely beautiful 10 out of 10 to everyone. Like, one of my favorite quotes is that we're all ugly to somebody. So chasing this desire to look perfect, to basically be perfect, is an illusion, and it's not. It's a waste of life. They say insecurity is a waste of your youth. Wanting proximity to exciting people and lifestyles can be an example of how your life is organized around perception. Wanting to feel seen, wanting to be important, you know, that's human. Like, in one way or another, we're all going to kind of experience that, but it's one thing to experience it, it's another thing to have those things dominate your life, okay? At the time, these environments genuinely felt validating, and I wasn't aware of how much they were shaping my own self perception of myself. Because what were they doing? They were reinforcing my beauty, right? How beautiful I was. That sounds so cringe, but like these are the kind of unconscious things that happen. Like there was beauty reinforcement, there's a sense of social belonging when you achieve a certain status or strive for a certain status or try to get in to maintain a certain status. Um, there's an aspirational identity. You can feel chosen. You can feel a sense of emotional escape, which is so common, and especially with creatives and artists, that's something we have to pay a lot of attention to, this desire to emotionally escape, because if you don't tame it and bring that under control and channel it into healthy ways, it can negatively impact your life, and you can feel a desire to escape that might manifest itself in, for example, addiction, which is very common with creative people, as we've seen time and time again. And of course, distraction from deeper loneliness and insecurity. But the thing is that validation is not the same thing as emotional nourishment. So, what validation is doing is you think it's fulfilling a very, it feels like it's fulfilling a deeper need, but it's like it's an illusion. It's not the same. It's like a, what's it called? A copy, a downgraded copy. There's definitely a word I'm looking for. It's not the same thing as emotional nourishment and emotional fulfillment, okay? And when you curate yourself, when you perform your attractiveness, when you perform your happiness, when you perform being fun, you start to confuse attention with connection. You start to confuse visibility with connection. And you think that the more attention you're getting, that this is love, that this is care, and it's not, okay? Here's some more of my personal experience, okay? I definitely feel like a past relationship I had exposed how unsafe and performative certain social dynamics really were without going into too much detail. But, there are things that change the way that you view people, especially major life events, okay? And I personally realized that proximity to status and attention does not equal emotional safety. And I realized on a deeper level that attractiveness, status, and attention does not protect you emotionally. And it changed the way that I formed my trust, it changed my nervous system, it changed my level of openness and my relationship to my social life, which is what is leading me into this topic of getting out of that performative nature. And a lot of us fall into this. I can talk about this forever. I don't want this video to be too long, but a lot of us fall into being performative in our relationships. Like, for example, I've heard so many stories of people ending up with partners that they claim later they didn't feel that feeling for. They did it because they wanted what? Social approval, whether it be from their family, whether it be wanting to fit in with their peers, or thinking that they had to be at a certain point in their life by now. And then what happens? They spend time in a relationship, years of their life with, the wrong person, and they end up in real regret. And this can even happen beyond relationships, because there are so many examples of that. It can happen in your friendships. And ladies, I hate to say it, but we've all we've all known someone like this or experienced it ourselves, that some friendships are based more on lifestyle compatibility and performance than emotional intimacy. They're based more on aesthetic and the way that you guys look together when you go out, and how cute you guys look in photos, or how much you, sometimes even it's like activity based, which is fine. But if you're only bonding through image, through nightlife, through aesthetics, attention, or social access, are you really emotionally safe? You know what reveals who is emotionally safe? A crisis, okay? A major life event. That's going to show you who your friends are, okay? And it's going to show you the level of depth that you have within your relationships. That performance cannot, like, that's going to test your relationship, and it's going to show you that it's not the same thing, a real friendship versus a performative friendship. I think I was relating. This is just something that I've had to work through within my past friendships that did not last. I think I was relating from a genuine emotional place, while some people were relating more through social utility or lifestyle, more of a transactional kind of way of thinking. And it's okay. That's how you learn. That's how you learn who your real and genuine friends are, like I said. But as a result, what can happen is you can feel unsupported, you can be pulled into environments that disconnect you from yourself, and you can experience social ecosystems that normalize emotionally unsafe behavior. So, all that being said, is that when you are developing your relationships, when you are developing your friendships, you need to make sure that there's a strong foundation there, because you don't want to end up in a place where people only know the version of you that is performing, where people are only relating to the version of your performative self. Because if they don't know you, if they don't feel you like you're real you, what is the point? Like, you're living your life on a false level. Like, you're living for the image, and that sucks because it's empty. Okay, I don't want this video to get too long. I think I'm gonna do a part two. But what's ended up happening as I've decreased this performative aspect of my life is that I am prioritizing the quality of my relationships, slower relationships, emotionally safe friendships, intentional living, wellness from a real place, enjoying beauty and, all of the aesthetic things without performing it, like just doing it because I love the creative process and I genuinely enjoy being creative, enjoying community without competition, connection with myself without constantly curating myself, because that was such an energy drain. And the thing is that I'm not anti beauty, I'm not anti femininity, fun, ambition, social life. It's just that I want those things to be emotionally real and aligned, okay? So I think I stopped performing my life when I realized I actually wanted to feel it. I actually wanted to experience it and live it on a real level for myself, okay? And this has been something that has been hard for me to put into words, but it is the vibe lately, and I want to know if you guys can relate. Leave me a comment down below. I can speak on this topic again. I probably will. I'll see you soon.